There we go. It's recording.
Which side do you wanna occupy?
Here, we're good here.
Okay.
Hey folks, it's Carlo Angelo Gonzales from GraveyardGamers.com, and I am with
John Landoni. I'm with iAcademy.
and he's a game developer. John, can you tell us a little more about what you do?
Well, that's not quite accurate. I'm actually not a game developer. I'm a game enthusiast, which is why I'm part of iAcademy. For those people who don't know, iAcademy is actually the college that brought game development and design to the Philippines. We were the pioneers 2 years ago. So what we're doing right now in terms of game development is that we took our curriculum, we passed it around the industry, we asked game developers from other countries to review our curriculum and tell us what was needed to make us one of the major players in Asia. As of now, there are only 3 major players in Asia, namely Japan, China, and Korea. The only thing wrong with that list is that we have the potential to be just as good as any of them.
I believe so.
And in some factors, we can exceed because we're more flexible than their cultures. And when it comes to gaming, we're just as much addicts as they are.
We are. That's true. That said, I have been getting a lot of questions from my gamer friends. Some of them want to be game publishers, designers, writers. What exactly does it take to become one?
Well, again, like in most careers or fields or industries, it first starts off with passion. Gaming, in terms of the digital aspect of it, or console gaming, computer gaming, is only an industry that's around 20 years old. It started really with Atari, but it was popularized by the family computer by Nintendo. Since then, it was slow at the beginning for grown-ups to understand the fascination of kids. But as you can see now, you got 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-olds playing on their PS3. You first start off with passion, then you start looking at the science behind it. It actually is pretty basic. The first computer games were actually based on chess. The logic behind chess on movements, which is very actually static and structured, simplistic, was the basis of how Pong was created. That game. How else do you describe that?
We'll show that in the footage.
They took the concept of chess, structured movements, and how do you put it into a game that's more dynamic. In Pong, the movement is not as structured. The ball goes anywhere, but based on how you hit it and from the angle, correct? So from there, games started evolving into something different, and it took more and more for a gamer to get addicted to a game. They wanted more out of the game. There was a time where we ventured towards more realism, and now it's more, we're going more cartoonish, if you notice. So it really depends on the time and the genre. You can't really go in a direct line when it comes to gaming. Now, a lot of people think you need to be good at math. Going back to answer your question, you need to be good at math.
Coding and stuff.
Actually, it starts out with being logical, not so much being great at math. Because you can find the algorithms anywhere off the net. If you need to accomplish it's all about resources, which you can find on the internet. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. It's reinventing how people see things. We live in a cynical world. Game development or gaming brings much joy to people nowadays because it lets us see things differently. It makes things fresh. And if you look at the more popular games now, like Angry Birds, Plants vs. Zombies, these are all rehashes of games that were created back in the early 80s. So things like that.
Really innovative stuff. Really simplistic gameplay too. More for the casual. Speaking of casual games, in the Philippines, most game developers and people, those people who work with in the games industry, they're the Filipinos. They're really into making casual games. That's not that I'm against it or anything, but some people are asking, when are we going to have our own version of console gaming.
Console or PC gaming. Okay, that's not far off. Basically it's all about support. Right now, in terms of from a business perspective, the industry in the Philippines does not yet see the money-making potential of gaming. Now, we believe that with what we're doing now, with things like this, and well, they have to be dead not to notice how gaming is taking over most industries. Like in the United States and in Europe, they're starting to use games to teach children in school, and it's been very effective. Once they wake up to see that from casual gaming, it's not a far cry to actually for the industry to open up its doors. We just need to, I guess, find partners from other countries who are willing to help us with the startup, and from that point, we can actually go in that direction. It's about resources at this point, really.
I may not have done my homework on this, just a little side question. What happened to Anito? It was a really good game developed by Filipinos. I felt that it had potential given the mythos. It was awesome. But as gamers and as Filipinos, some of the, or at least my gaming friends, the gaming community in the Philippines, those at least hardcore, think that we have that kind of potential. Like you said, we might be able to start up with that. But do you think, being in the game developers, do you think we have a shot at that? Like a game of that magnitude, can an indie web game developer be able to do that? Or?
It's really finding its niche. I don't know specifically from the back end what happened with Anito, but from the experience of it had all the right potential. It's just that Filipinos were able to relate to it, but on a global scale, it didn't get as much support as it needed to become, well, competitive in that on that market.
Even here, do you think we weren't able to support it as much because of how big the other games were?
Well, that would be I think that had an influence over what happened, but in and by itself, it should have survived. At least from my perspective, what happened was, I guess, for a game to survive really now, it's getting global or internet support, because that's what brings the advertisers or sponsors in. And in the end, to create better games, you need more resources for better equipment. But it's not always the case. You can start off with a simplistic game, it hits big, now you have the resources and the ability to move on from that. Really, the Filipinos are poised. We're on the brink of creating our own identity when it comes to game development. We just need that push forward and the support of, I guess, the nation. I mean, you can say that of any industry, really, but in terms of gamers, we're up there. We even give the Koreans, who are known to be the most addictive
people in gaming.
When it comes to gaming.
They have planes with StarCraft logos in them.
Exactly. So, I mean, we're up there. We're with them. But we know how to temper it off with IRL, I mean, real life issues. So, things like that.
So, really what you're saying is, for console games, those big games to come up, we're really laying down the foundation here in terms of casual games. That's nice.
We've had a strong presence. We have had a lot of developers. Let's say there was, I can't remember his last name right now, but his name is Richie. He was part of the development team for Diablo with Blizzard. I believe he was responsible for the character designs of all the characters.
Cool.
So, aside from him, it's at the tip of my tongue, I just can't recall it right now, maybe later. But we've had Filipinos involved in those console games. If only they would come back to the Philippines to share their wealth of knowledge, we might be able to head in that direction sooner rather than later.
Money. Yeah, it's also about the money, really.
It's also creating a game does require a certain level amount of skill, the right opportunity, and also the supporting resources to get it done.
Is there is there anything else we need to be a game developer or to be a game publisher?
Well, again, having a good background in math is helpful, but not required. If you feel you have common sense, then you're on the right path. You have to be passionate about it, because creating a game and playing a game are two different schools of thought. You'll have to be dedicated, but for the rest, on learning what you need to learn and whatnot, leave that to us. Because as an educational institution, I mean, that's our job. If you want to learn how, leave it to iAcademy. We are positioning ourselves, how do I put it lightly? We are the gurus of game, the pindats of play, and the paragons of programming. What else is there?
That's really awesome. I should think of something like that for graveyard gamers. But hey, as a voice of the gaming community in the Philippines, that's what Graveyard Gamers is. And we feel that there are people here who are experts in the development of games. So we're literally the guys who will really be fanboys of the stuff you make. And
I look forward to having more, what should I say, opportunities to work with you, since we're both pressing to push the gaming development industry here in the Philippines to a higher level that we get recognized around the globe.
Yep. John, is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience?
Up, up, down, down, left, right, VA, start.
That's the Konami code.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who understand that, you are born gamers. Hope to see you inside our campus soon.
And buy our games.
Yep, buy our games.
Thanks, John.
It was a pleasure.
It's Carlo Angelo Gonzales, graveyardgamers.com. We're gonna take more stuff, talk to more people about the event. I'll see you guys.
This is not goodbye, this is pause. From iAcademy, signing out.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
You're awesome.
Thank you. So sorry.